and we're gonna fucking wing it. So yeah, so there we go. So there's the plan. So we'll reschedule the actual official bona fide freaking podcast for like a week from now, 2 weeks, whatever
What do
works.
you want the background of this one to be?
Hmm?
We're just gonna wing.
Okay.
We're just gonna go into it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna bullshit. I don't know. I don't know. This is going up on the YouTube channel. We're gonna make it fucking. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time.
Oh,
We're gonna talk.
hit
We're all
record, aren't
drinking
you?
beers. So for
It's
those,
already
for
been
those,
recording.
yeah. Well, yeah, we're recording already. You're welcome. All this is going in there. So welcome to the fucking shit
Cheers,
show.
YouTube.
There you go.
Even with the
Cheers. Cheers with my unbalanced breakfast, i.e., alcoholic coffee. So for those of you watching this, so we're gonna put this up on the YouTube channel. So I rescheduled on Hugh like 2 weeks ago because Alex had something come up. I think he was sick. I think he had anyway. And then he's in Indianapolis filming for Bigger Pockets right now, and the camera just freaking like the Wi-Fi died for what he was using, and I was like, dude, I don't want to waste your time again. So we're gonna run a YouTube video, and then we'll do a super official more time podcast again when we have Alex, because it'll be fun. Because so Hugh and I are actually friends, right? Like I've gotten hammered drunk on homemade moonshine and soju and shit in his hot tub before. So he's in my market back home, which we're not going to name on this podcast, Hugh, because we just greater Missouri area. Huh? Yeah, it's a shit market. Don't go there. Don't invest there. Don't come in our, it's garbage, terrible. But no, so Hugh's a character, right? So I know this isn't like an official podcast, but I'm going to give an intro because Hugh was one of those people. You I don't even remember. You pinged me on Facebook like a year and a half ago. It was not this last time I was home, the time before. So it would have been like Christmas time frame 2019, right? Ping me on Facebook. You're like, dude, let's get coffee. And I was like running all over the fucking place. And I'm like, okay, look, I can do coffee, but it's got to be like at this time at this place. That's the only way this is going to work. And you were like, okay, cool. And you showed up. We hung out for like, it wasn't nearly enough time because we're both way too talkative.
Like 10
and
minutes.
So, yeah, I mean, it was like maybe 30 minutes, right? In that time, I was like, oh yeah, I got a property manager worth talking to, like whatever. But you were looking through the 16-door portfolio. And I remember thinking like, wow, that's a huge freaking first deal. And you just closed door 30, right? A year and a half, not even a year and a half later.
It's been 14 months. I closed on 30 doors, and it was actually a 26-unit deal.
Oh, first shit, you're right. You're right.
The first one I bought was 20. That was the first house I've ever bought. Was just I was too stupid to know. I was too stupid not to know. Oh, too dumb to know it was supposed to be hard or something. So yeah, I just did it. I was like,
not only did it wasn't. But here's the crazy thing, right? Like this is the part that's so fucking weird about this, right? I know people who've bought 20-unit, 30-unit, 40-unit, 100-unit apartments for their first deal, right? I don't know anyone else off the top of my head who bought a 26-door, but it's portfolio like homes. Like this is not like, yeah, hey, this is a 26-unit building that I found that like, here's all the numbers, but like there's 26 houses kind of scattered all over the freaking place. Screw it. Let's see.
All of them are shitholes. Yeah. So. Well, they were.
I know.
They all worked. I have so what David Green and in the books and whatnot, they're like, oh, investors identify rules of thumb. A rule of thumb is a pattern that emerges, that skilled investors will notice and pick up on it and see if they can make money from that pattern. So there's like 1% rule, whatever, rule of thumb. Well, my rule of thumb is, does Hugh feel like he needs a gun to go in the house? And if he doesn't feel like he needs a gun to go in the house, then I'm probably entering too nice of a house. I'm not going to make any money on it. So
it's funny you say that. My agent told me he had to go and bring in somebody with a concealed carry to go tour some of the houses I had him going in. So yeah,
that's where all the money's at. It's where you're like,
ooh. Wes and Kevin. So Wes straight up asked me, you what?
I haven't met Wes yet.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So you've met Kevin, right?
Dan, but they're all.
That's right. Same brokerage. Yeah. Same team. So Wes straight up called me one day and was like, "Do you know what heroin smells like?" I'm like, no. He goes, "All right. Well, if you want to know, when you're in town in 2 weeks, go buy this property yourself. If it was me, I wouldn't buy it. I'm like, oh, all right. Well, yeah, okay. I'll not buy that one. I don't want to find out what heroin smells like. I'm okay. Like meth, okay. You know what? Meth is pretty common in that area, right? But heroin's like another level of drug house. I don't know that I want to dabble.
Super methy.
You got motion sensor
Auto
lights
lights
for your
are
lighting. Oh man. All right. So and then you got to introduce me to your partner, your COO.
All right. So this is for you military to millionaire folks. This is my XO. Effectively, I'm CEO.
There you.
But I'm CEO. He's COO. Whatever.
I'm Hugh's favorite number 2.
That's right. I love number 2.
So, long story short, Hugh brought me over from Japan. My wife was active duty, and
we're both mil spouses.
I was gonna say, yeah, they're both dependos.
Yep, both dependos.
Apparently, people get offended when I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a dependent bottom."
Yeah.
Whoa, you can't say that. I'm like, "Yeah, I can."
So that's where we really met, and kind of got to know each other over the years. And I was about to transition out. My wife separated from the military a month ago, and Hugh kept planting the seeds. Hey, you really should move to Missouri. I was like, why in the world would I move to Missouri? I didn't know much about it. And
we got Canjos.
Yeah, we got Canjos. And, I trusted Hugh's opinion and I made that leap. I'm from Utah originally. And despite my better judgment, I'm here on the couch drinking some beer.
So effectively what happened was, if you listen to David Green, Brandon Turner, all these guys, take action is more important. Making a decision is more important than what decision you make and all that crap. And then you read all the books, almost all the books. And every time anyone has ever been like, man, what would you do different if you were you 10 years ago? And they said, I would have delegated sooner. And I was like, okay, I am officially going to, make myself broke and hire someone when I can barely afford to do that. And we're going to figure this out and scale. So in the meantime, after the 30 doors, during that time, I also bought, I think, an 8-plex and a motel, commercial unit, and gas station. So
for those of you listening who have done the math, that 26 plus 8 plus hotel plus gas station equals more than 30. How many of those 26 did you end up selling? Like what ended up?
I have all 26. I actually bought the remaining 4. How about 4 more since then?
Oh,
so I actually have 30 doors personally. And then, technically I'm an owner of the motel, gas station.
Gotcha. Okay. I was like, man, my math over here is I'm not drunk yet.
No, I bought it with OPM.
Gotcha.
But that's only a condition if they sell. So, but I'm entitled to 50-50 profit split.
Nice. I like it. All right, cool. And so that's cool that you're not like running around screaming about how many doors that is. That kind of drives me nuts when people are like,
well, it doesn't matter how many doors you have. It matters how much cash flow you have and, what did you get out of it and that good stuff. Almost everything that I have is 1.5 to 1.68% rule.
I like it.
And then infinite cash on cash return when you do the refis. For Burr, I do the Burr method. And I'm training Mr. Dane here to do the Burr method as well.
Yep. Actually, since I got here, it's kind of been a whirlwind. My first week,
this is crazy.
I ended up buying my first duplex and using the VA to step in with 0 cash down and 0 closing costs anything. I paid $0 and picked up an awesome duplex, but it was really that team dynamic. Hugh had the core 4 and the processes in place where I could walk in and feel confident after having been out of the country for years and like feet on the ground. All of a sudden I'm closing on a house. And
so you were stationed in what? You were stationed in where?
San Diego first,
right.
And then we went over to Japan. So we were over there for the last 3+ years, and then the world changed.
I picked you up on Monday.
Yeah.
And then by Thursday, you had a duplex under contract.
What part of town?
With no money. You're like, no money down. Yeah. It's like, wait, I get it. I just get the house. It's like,
right.
Basically, you got to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
man,
that's
awesome.
crazy.
What part of town?
Nixa.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a good area. That's what's up.
It was the only thing for sale.
Yeah, there's not a lot of duplexes on the market at all.
There were 9 duplexes sold in Nixa, Ozark, Highlandville, and Republic in 2020.
Which are all towns that we have changed the name of because they don't actually exist. So don't come to this market.
Oh, right.
No, it's all good.
That was our only option, and we negotiated them 50,000 down. So we were able to walk in just above 200K on that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
for our market,
that's crazy right now. Yeah,
it's an obscenely high amount for our market, but like
it's valid.
VA loan.
But right now, I mean, the market's, you're finding 250K duplex. Like there's 2 duplexes in Sparta right now that are like pushing 300 that people are asking. And I'm like, what do you? Nobody wants to drive out there.
Yeah, no one want to go.
Yeah, but for me, from Salt Lake, I saw the biggest, boom you've seen with the tech industry and real estate. You can't step into a duplex for under 800K. So that's when valid. I found one just above 200, I was blown away.
Well, okay. So we ran the numbers for him, and using the BRRRR strategy with with VA loans, he could have paid up to 268 at full. That's what their full asking price was, which is like it was like 50, 60 grand above like market price.
Yeah.
And for me as a BRRRR investor, I would have had to buy that thing at 180K to cash flow. But for VA, he literally gets to go $120,000 more than me. Oh, no, $80,000 more than me, and the numbers still work. So, military families, you guys have an awesome opportunity. You know, all closing costs lumped in. Super sick. I mean, it's sick.
Yeah.
Well, we learned from working with another VA lender who Hugh knew really well. He said, "Hey, why aren't you rolling in your closing costs? That's something that you can extend a margin on for a VA." So it was that kind of education where
that was you, David.
I was gonna say that was the wait a minute. I was gonna say, wait a minute, is this the guy that you and I were having Facebook messages about?
Yeah.
I owe you a drink, my friend.
He was gonna come out of pocket $5,000. Now he's just in.
There you go. Yeah. It's there's definitely some lenders out there who just don't realize the ins and outs. I mean, the VA loan is so powerful if you know what you're doing with it. So you did end up getting it rolled. So that's cool.
Yeah. It was crazy.
That's awesome. Congrats, brother.
Thank you. It's been good to be here. It's I think one of the most left turns I've ever taken in my life or career, but one of the most rewarding experiences. And it's just been like a roller coaster ride since we've been here. What Hugh and I have done in the last 3.5 weeks, I couldn't have imagined doing, a few years ago.
Well, and you get to hang out in Hugh's Playboy mansion of the South. So
yeah, we call it the Hillbilly Mansion.
There you go.
Oh man,
I feel like we should almost just like do a video one of these days. When I'm out there, we're gonna just wander through your house.
We do like a cribs.
Yeah.
There you go. So for those of you watching, Hugh has a house where, I don't want to botch this. Was it 1850s era for the first room in the house?
It's 1851 to 1857. So at the youngest my house is 1857 for the first section.
And then it's just been added on. There's like a fucking waterfall in the house. There's an indoor, like when I say indoor pool, it's not like an indoor pool. It's like if you built a hotel pool with like a 3-story glass, like Jurassic Park style cage around it with like, a freaking Willie's Jeep in the corner. And like, he's got a 5-ton in the, hanging out right behind it. You can see a hot tub and like the kind of pool that you're like, you watch Mary Poppins and there's like the nice rock like bridge that you're walking across. It's a very unique house that's been built onto over the years, and I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah. So my dad basically, it started out life as a log cabin. My dad bought the land back in the 60s. Like 1960, he was 31, and he was running cattle on the land, and I think he had a marriage in, and his first wife threw him out, so he came to live in the cabin, and he just added on to it ever since. So.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place.
Needs a good roofer, so if you know anyone.
There you go. Yeah, I'll have to think. I had a guy who did my 10 unit, but I don't know that he was anything spectacular.
Oh yeah, you did close your 10 unit. Have you done any videos on that yet?
Not much. We closed April 1st, so 45-day close, but dude, like no contingencies. pretty sweet. Like nothing, like no inspection, no appraisal, no financing contingency, no. Yeah, pretty rad. So, walk away, pay off all my personal debts, and still have some capital left over. And then I'm actually closing. Let's see, I sold a house Monday, I buy a house tomorrow, and I sell 2 Friday.
Whoa.
So
And that's all local.
Yeah. So it's gonna be like a $40,000 week in like gross profit, pre-tax profit. Maybe closer to 50. I have to remember the shakeout on one because the one of them's I'm partnered on, the other two I'm not. It's just me. And then the one I'm buying is I'm doing other people's money, and I'm just gonna turn around, clean it out, and list it. So I thought about doing the burr on it myself, but I don't know that the numbers, they were good, but they weren't good enough to make me want to do it when I had kind of told myself no more big renovations till I moved back. So I was like, I'll just toss it and keep rolling.
Nice. Yeah, that 8-plex we picked up. So it's a 6-plex right now, but it's grandfathered in to be an 8-plex because back in the 20s, people had like 5 families living in the basement. And we bought it for $199 downtown.
Really?
We bought a 6-plex that's grandfathered in to be an 8-plex for $199. These things are normally
was this one listed?
It was listed for 2.5 hours. And
okay, maybe it's not the one I was thinking of then.
Because maybe what happened was my systems and processes, it kicked an email out, and then I saw it and was like, all right, team, stop everything you're doing. We're on site, inspecting it. We're walking the property. We're calling. We made an offer, and the sellers were very elderly, and they just like, we couldn't get a hold of them. So we kept bugging them. I have an awesome KW, realtor named Dan Turkel. He like was on the phone till like 11 or like midnight and trying to get a hold of them. They were just non-responsive. 10 a.m. was a showing. There were 11 other people that were going to show up. He gets us in there at 9 a.m. somehow. Show up, get it signed, under contract at 9:40. Everyone else shows up at 10, pissed because they drove there. It was just like, it was, like, I don't know, military teaches, it's violence of action. Something happened. We went in there with force, got everything that we could. We were hungrier than everyone else. Everyone else was, they were like growing up in Bentleys and BMWs and Mercedes and all pissy. I'm in a beat up truck and a work jacket, like, all right, we got it. Here, there's this. So.
That's too funny. Yeah, you had told me that. I've been looking for something close to downtown. I found an office building that had been listed, got taken off the market, convinced him to let me see it. Actually got him to come into pretty close to what I wanted for terms. And I just kind of realized it wasn't, I could make it work, but it wasn't there yet. It wasn't going to cash flow on me. It's a cool place, but just not. Like right now, maybe I guess if I was selling the 10 unit, I could 1031 into it, and I'd be really only have like $200,000 in debt, so it would work. But I'm gonna look for something else in that area. I want something downtown to work out.
Or you're gonna pay the cat? It's the age-old debate.
No, I'm paying the taxes. Okay. Unless something awesome comes around, because my goal for 2021. What was that?
You don't want a 1031 with a gun to your head. Like, you've got 180 days.
It has nothing to do with that. It's just my goal for 2021 was that by the time I exited the military or got back this summer, I wanted to have no debt other than mortgages and 50 to 100K in operating capital, so that I had a runway for the first year of not being employed full time. And so this one sale will effectively let me pay off all of my personal loans, all my debts, both my vehicles, everything except for my mortgages, including my HELOC, and still have like 50K left over. So I was like, you know what? I'll pay a $33,000 tax hit to do that and be completely done.
Setting yourself up.
Yeah, and that's going to cut out probably $1,200 in expenses. car payments, the interest rate's great, right? So everyone, there's this misnomer, like you don't pay cars off fast because the interest is so low. Like I understand that, but if I owe $5,000 on a car and paying it off frees up a $240 a month car payment, well, $5,000 isn't going to get me into a rental property that cash flows $240 a month, right? It's going to take $15,000 or $20,000 to get me into that rental. So, and even if you burr, you might get stuck with $5,000 left in it. So it's like $5,000 to free up $240 on a car payment. Sure, the interest rate on the car payment's nothing, but that's a very quick $240 of instant cash flow, guaranteed, right? Like that, why not?
It's a large payment. Yeah, even if the rate's good, car payments are a large payment on an appreciating asset.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those car payments are weird because it's like the longer you own a car, like so the more you pay the car payment down, because the payment isn't like a credit card where it shrinks. The more you pay it down, the more valuable it is to pay it off instantly. Because it's like once you get down to like, oh, I have $2,000 left on this car payment. Well, yeah, and you're paying $240 a month on it. Pay the freaking $2,000 and free up the $240 a month. Like that's way better than, you know, when you have $10,000 to pay off and free up $240. That's not as enticing. But as you get the car payment lower, it's like, dude, just freaking get rid of it. Yeah. By the way, the positioning of Dan right now is perfect. It looks like you have Mickey Mouse ears with the little wagon behind you.
I do.
Like beautifully positioned. I love it.
I was sponsored by Disneyland.
This is actually a 100 proof old Jack Daniels flask from back in the day.
As a wagon. That's cool.
You'll have to come drink sometime.
Oh, you know I'm down to come drink it.
What was that podcast that you did? He was like, wait, what did alcohol do to you? Oh, that was Alex popped in. Oh, that was Paul's podcast.
Which one?
Oh, you got about buying guns and cars, and then he's like, I spent money on tattoo and alcohol. Like, oh, what alcohol do you?
Me. That is all me coming out of deployment and just nothing to show for it. Got some cool tattoos. You know, some appropriate ones, some not appropriate ones. You've seen them. You know. Good old drunken hot tub days. Oh, man. All right. So I do have we got a few more minutes here. So you are a Lean Six Sigma, not Lean Six Sigma, but a lean guy, right? So
2 second lean.
There you go. 2 second lean. I'm sorry. There's all kinds of different similar methodology or at least similar theories. Could you, I think that's a cool topic, and we'll obviously dig more into that in the, full length shit talking podcast with Alex, but could you, I'm a green belt, Lean Six Sigma, so I understand the concept, but could you give kind of just a breakdown of what 2 second lean is and how you think that helps, like why that's a valuable thing for real estate investors? Because obviously you've done something right if you own 30 doors in 14 months.
Yeah, absolutely. No. So 2 second lean is the lean version of Lean Six Sigma. So Lean Six Sigma is like this big corporate conglomerate consultants, like, let me sell you a belt. You'll be a white belt, a green belt, a black belt, whatever. There's a guy named Paul Akers, and he's
got fucking bowl of popcorn. I fucking love it. He just
so this guy named Paul Akers, and he basically was like, whoa, this is awesome, but I just got fleeced for like 14 grand for some 2 dudes to come into my office and help me out. I'm gonna write a book and apply the lean principles, which is basically like efficiency, low effort stuff, to lean. And he created a whole new branch of lean called 2 second lean, which is basically cultural and people based. And everything's about like fixing what bothers you, like very, very simple stuff. So for instance, you have any pens in your office right now? What's something you use in your office all the time? Or you use that pen. Does it have a home?
It usually sits right there.
Approximately there, right? But you're right-handed, aren't you?
I am a lefty. So
you're a lefty. Okay.
I am a weirdo. So it sits left hand, right, like dead center, right between where my arms sit when I type.
Awesome. So let's say you set it down in a slightly different place each time, and it saved you 4 or 5 seconds. instead of 1 second versus 4 or 5 seconds each time you used it. How many times do you use it a day, you think?
When I'm sitting at my desk, probably every, I don't know, at least 10 or 20 times, right? So,
all right, so yeah, let's say 15 times. We'll split the difference. 15 times. Let's say it saved 2 seconds, right? It's 2 second lean. We'll probably come up with something like a home for it times 2. 15, crap. 15 times 2. All right. And then if it's working days, you're in there 261 days a year. But how often are you in that office? Because you're churning out content like 5 videos a week.
7 days a week.
All right, so times 7 days. So are you in there 365 days? Are you there 300 days a year?
Oh, easily. Yeah. Probably up in the like 340 range. There's probably like 15 or 20 days a year that I don't poke my head in.
Times 340. It's 10,200 seconds we could save if we just made it upright or something. If you found a spot for it over and over. If you just saved 2 seconds. Divide that by 60 is 170 minutes. Divide by 60 is 2.8 hours, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but our entire life revolves around hundreds of thousands of paper cuts.
Yeah.
Like that. And would you rather have 3 hours every day? Or there's things that we do like 5 minutes will save it. So it's about classifying things, breaking down all the stuff we're doing into value-added and non-value-added work, which sounds super boring. But I basically am the laziest person that bought 30 houses, that the requirement for hiring him, what do we do on Wednesdays?
Oh, dude, we don't do anything.
Wednesdays is Weapon Wednesdays. We drink and hang out. It's a requirement for anyone on our team that we ever scale in the future.
Yeah.
We have to do everything with ease. And basically my whole thing is everyone on the team is semi-retired. And in the worst case, I fire everyone and I'm still, wealthy. So
one big distinction though that Hugh, I think, didn't really mention is the difference between lean and 2 second lean is really the people-centric approach. So my experience as I've come on, because I've seen lean manufacturing in the Toyota way, obviously in Japan, I've seen a lot of that. But what amazed me is it empowers people to be their best operators and to be process engineers. So you think like, basically you think like the person who put lean into place, right? You're making your job better every single day and doing it more efficiently. And the people become super happy, super productive. And he turned a whole motel around using 2 second lean. And this motel runs on only 3 people. And it runs better probably than any motel I've ever seen.
Since the cap rates of, since commercial properties are valued off of cap rates, we basically turned the profit around with this process and we created a spread. But basically we took the evaluation from $2.6 million in purchasing to $5 million on the low end valuation based on cap rates in 3 months.
Using 2 second lean. And we're the first people to ever apply it to real estate processes.
We don't know. There's lots of Six Sigma people out there that do real estate, but 2 second lean is just completely different. You train your guys, you train your people, and then you just say, there's a very loose framework that you have to don't, break the law, don't do these things. There's very few things that we're strict about. And everything else is we're going to train you. You're going to be a badass. And then you figure it out. Because I'm not hiring someone so I micromanage you. I'm hiring someone so you do that job. You're the expert at that thing. We're going to train you to be an expert at process. It's all about process. And there's a scientific method to process. And 2 second lean is basically an easy way to learn and figure out how to do process well. And that's how I was so easily able to scale and basically retire within 14 months. Well, retire, then unretire myself by hiring him.
All right, question for you. How many doors is that hotel?
The motel is 30 doors.
Okay.
And we increased profit by 30%, 32%, and we decreased expenses overall by $2,800 a month. So there's a $7,000 wedge we created almost immediately.
I may or may not be negotiating an off-market hotel right now. I don't know the first damn thing about running the hotel, nor do I want to create a job for myself. So I'm hoping I'm getting on another call with this guy tomorrow. And then I think he's going to send me the numbers on everything. more than just a hotel. This is like a crazy portfolio. Like it's like a hotel, a 23 unit apartment, a 15 unit apartment, and then like a $2 million, 27-acre home in Saddlebrook, which is yeah, yeah, you know, like yeah. He's like we're talking, and he's like, so all that to say, depending on how negotiations go, right? Like I've got another guy I know who does hotels. Like that's his thing. He's a syndicator and he only does hospitality. I don't know if he touches anything this small because it's only 40 doors as a hotel.
Yes.
So all that to say, I have a phone call with that guy lined up once I get these numbers. But yeah, we may need to talk because I'm not going to want, for one, I'm not going to be able to take it all down on my own. I don't think anyway. He's willing to carry some, but I don't think he's willing to carry enough for me to take it down myself. And for two, I don't want to touch operations on a hotel. So yeah, we might have to talk about partnering on something.
And actually, I bought the hotel and had zero experience in hotels. So are there on-site operators for the motel and the hotels?
That's the call tomorrow. So essentially, and I got to run in a second, but long story short, he bought it from a bank. I think it went under because of the pandemic. He got it from a bank and he was going to turn it into assisted living. And then the city said no. And so he was like, well, I don't want to operate a damn hotel. So if I can't rezone it, I want to retire because he's old. Right. So I say old. He's 61.
Well, so even from the one, what you said, there's like several apartments and a motel or whatever, you can easily pull, and this is for any of your listeners too. I know it sounds crazy because people are just like, I just want to get my first duplex with the VA loan, but it's like super quick and you're where we're at, right? You have an opportunity to be like, hey, you have all these independent motels or apartments that may or may not have on-site staff. You can literally leverage the best 2 or 3 people or 5 people from all of them to manage them all. And as you scale, you just keep the same people. You don't need to keep adding people on. You don't need to keep the people that they came with the property. In fact, there's a 80 to 90% chance the people that are running the facility are why you're buying it at such a good deal because because the previous owner was running it like a real estate asset, which means passive, or AKA I don't give a crap. I made all my money because I bought this thing in the 80s for $10. You know, and if you run it slightly correctly and you can leverage that, you're going to be able, especially because all of the things you described are rated off a cap rate. Imagine you take this thing down for, let's just say it's $5 million. And then you just triple you just create a spread because it's all cap rate based. All right. Yeah, so all of a sudden you got like a 15, 20 mil property that you can go borrow against that way covers the cash flow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
There's some absolute potential. If his numbers are right and he's asking what he's asking, this could be a very, very smart deal for me. So hopefully the call tomorrow goes well, and we'll have to touch base. But I'm going to have to run this evening. So hang on a sec. I'm going to kill this recording. Thank you, Hugh and Dan, for joining me on this. I may just release this as like a bonus podcast, but it's going to be on the YouTube channel within a week. So, but we shall see. This is actually turned into, this is just fun. Just friends talking about real estate. Honestly, this is probably better than a fucking podcast.
I just like hanging out. This is like we're at
3 dudes talking.
3 dudes talking podcast.
There you go. We should do, well, we're going to have to talk. I want to do a local podcast when I move back. So,
let's do it. Oh, we have the set for it.
Yeah, man.
Fuck, man. I don't even need an office. I'm just going to come hang out with Hugh. All right. I got to stop this recording.